Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Breaking news in the NFL world today has fans buzzing as the Washington Commanders reportedly worked out veteran defensive end Preston Smith, according to Field Yates. This move is more than just a routine workout. It's a potential homecoming story that could reshape the Commanders' pass rush for the upcoming season. For those who have followed Smith's career, this development is loaded with intrigue, nostalgia, and a dash of strategic calculation. Smith, now 32 years old, started his professional journey in Washington, drafted in the second round out of Mississippi State back in 2015. From the moment he arrived, Smith showed flashes of the kind of disruptive power and relentless motor that teams dream about in a pass rusher, and Washington fans remember him fondly as a cornerstone of their defensive front in his early years. After completing his rookie contract, Smith signed a lucrative four-year, $52 million deal with the Green Bay Packers in 2019, marking a significant step up in his career. This contract not only reflected the Packers' belief in his abilities, but also underscored Smith's ascent as one of the more reliable edge rushers in the league. Over the following seasons, he consistently contributed to Green Bay's defense, racking up sacks, tackles for loss, and key plays that often shifted the momentum of games. Yet, as the NFL is nothing if not unpredictable, Smith found himself entering the final year of his deal in 2022, with a substantial $12.5 million on the line in combined salary and bonuses. Despite his performance, the business side of football would soon intervene, leading to a contract extension worth $52.5 million in March of 2022, showing just how much the Packers valued him at the time. Fast forward to mid-season 2023, and the narrative takes a turn. The Packers traded Smith to the Steelers in a deal that caught many by surprise. This mid-season move was strategic for Green Bay, but for Smith, it meant a new system, new coaches, and a new city to adapt to. Despite the challenge, Smith delivered solid numbers for Pittsburgh, showcasing his professionalism and adaptability. Over the 2024 season, combining his time with both the Packers and the Steelers, Smith appeared in 17 games, notching 32 total tackles, 5 tackles for loss, for 0.5 sacks, and even a fumble recovery. These numbers reflect a player who remains effective, even as the physical demands of the NFL edge rusher position begin to accumulate. Now, the Washington Commanders are reportedly bringing Smith back into the fold, at least for a workout, which immediately raises several questions and scenarios for fans and analysts alike. Could this be the start of a reunion that strengthens the Commanders' pass rush ahead of a crucial season? Washington's defense has shown flashes of brilliance, but has also struggled at times to consistently pressure the quarterback, an area where Smith's experience and skill set could be invaluable. A player of Smith's caliber doesn't just bring statistics to the table. He brings leadership, experience in high-pressure situations, and a deep understanding of the game that younger players can learn from. The storyline almost writes itself. A veteran returns to the team that drafted him, hoping to provide a spark and perhaps even finish his career where it started. Of course, this workout doesn't guarantee a contract, but the implications are significant. NFL teams are always looking for ways to bolster their roster without taking on overwhelming financial risk, and a veteran like Smith, who is currently available after being a cap casualty by the Steelers, presents a tantalizing opportunity. For Smith himself, this is an opportunity to reignite a career that has already seen substantial highs and some unexpected twists. His journey from Washington to Green Bay to Pittsburgh has been a roller coaster, but the possibility of returning to the city where it all began is a storyline that appeals not just to fans but to the human side of sports. Homecomings, unfinished business, and the drive to prove that experience still matters in a league obsessed with youth and speed. Fans of the Commanders should also consider the broader strategic picture. Adding Smith could provide not only a boost in pass rushing production, but also a mentoring presence for younger players learning the nuances of rushing the quarterback and maintaining consistency over a long season. Defensive ends like Smith don't just bring numbers. They bring habits, technique, and a professional approach that can subtly elevate the entire defensive unit. Washington's defensive front, while talented, could certainly benefit from the guidance of someone who has navigated multiple systems and overcome the challenges of mid-season trades, injuries, and contract uncertainties. It's the kind of situational knowledge that doesn't always show up in a stat sheet, but can change the trajectory of a season. Looking at Smith's recent performance, it's clear he still has something to offer. Recording 32 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, for 0.5 sacks, and a fumble recovery over a split season might not scream elite, but it signals reliability, versatility, and the ability to make key plays when it matters. For a team like the Commanders, who may be looking for a difference-maker at the edge without committing to a blockbuster deal, Smith represents a potential low-risk, high-reward scenario. The timing also coincides with a league where every roster move is magnified by salary cap considerations and the ever-present need to balance veteran experience with developing talent. As the NFL offseason continues, this story is one to watch closely. Will Washington decide to bring Smith back into the fold and give him a chance to prove he still belongs in the league spotlight? Or will this remain a fleeting workout with no long-term consequences? Either way, the narrative is compelling. A former second-round pick, a proven pass rusher, a player who has seen the highs and lows of multiple franchises, could be on the verge of returning to where it all began. For fans, analysts, and fantasy football enthusiasts alike, this development adds another layer of intrigue to the Commanders' offseason plans, blending elements of nostalgia, strategy, and pure football curiosity. In conclusion, Preston Smith's workout with the Washington Commanders is more than a simple roster evaluation. It's a story about opportunity, legacy, and the ongoing chess match that is the NFL offseason. Smith's journey, from a promising second-round pick to a high-paid Green Bay veteran, to a mid-season trade to Pittsburgh, and now potentially back in Washington, embodies the unpredictability and drama that make professional football so compelling. As fans eagerly speculate, the key takeaway is that when a player of Smith's experience becomes available, every team has to consider not just what he can do on the field today, but what he can teach, inspire, and contribute to the culture of the locker room tomorrow. The coming weeks will reveal whether this workout leads to a reunion that could energize Washington's defense, or if it's simply a chapter in the ever-turning pages of the NFL offseason saga. Either way, Preston Smith remains a player whose name and story continue to resonate, reminding us all that in football, as in life, sometimes the journey comes full circle in the most unexpected ways. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not going to believe the news that just dropped in the NFL world. If you thought the offseason was going to be calm, think again, because Josh Harris, the notoriously unpredictable owner, has just pulled a move that has sent shockwaves through the league. Picture this. The Miami Dolphins, who many thought had a lock on Tyreek Hill, suddenly find themselves blindsided in a way that even the most seasoned NFL insiders didn't see coming. Yes, the whispers that were floating around for weeks have now become a full-blown, undeniable reality. Tyreek Hill is officially heading to Washington, D.C. to suit up for the Commanders, leaving Dolphins fans stunned and, quite frankly, fuming. You can almost hear the collective gasp of fans across Florida as this news spreads, the murmurs in sports bars turning into outright debates about what just happened. This isn't just a signing. This is a statement, a power move orchestrated by Josh Harris, who seems to have rewritten the rules of the offseason in one swift, audacious maneuver. It's been known for a while that Hill had options, that multiple teams were circling, and that negotiations were delicate. But nobody, and I mean nobody, expected Josh Harris to swoop in at the last second and pull the rug from under Miami's feet. The Dolphins were reportedly in advanced talks, discussions that insiders described as promising and very close to a done deal. But Harris, with his trademark decisiveness and flair for the dramatic, apparently had other plans. There's something almost cinematic about it. The Dolphins thinking they had it in the bag, their fans already dreaming of the explosive plays Hill would bring to the South Florida offense. And then, BM, news breaks that Hill is not only not signing with Miami, but he's heading to the nation's capital. This is the kind of move that will be dissected for months, the kind of off-season shakeup that changes the dynamics of entire conferences before a single preseason snap has even occurred. Let's talk about the man at the center of it all, Tyreek Hill. Known as the Cheetah for his breakneck speed and game-changing ability, Hill has always been a prized commodity. His combination of speed, agility, and route-running precision makes him one of the most dangerous wide receivers in the league, and any team that can secure him instantly elevates their offensive potential. But landing him is never simple. Hill is smart, ambitious, and knows his value, and now, with this sudden pivot to Washington, it seems like he's putting his trust in a franchise that has shown serious intent to compete at the highest level. The Commanders, for years trying to find that missing piece to propel them back into contention, may have just found it. The narrative practically writes itself: a team with history, a fanbase craving excitement, and a star receiver who can turn games on their head. Add Josh Harris's vision and resources to the mix, and suddenly, this is more than just a signing. It's a potential franchise-altering event. Rumors had been swirling for weeks about who Hill would end up with. Miami seemed to have the inside track, their offensive system perfectly suited to capitalize on his skills, and the chemistry with their young quarterback looked promising on paper. Analysts were already projecting highlight reel touchdowns, predicting Hill's yards after catch numbers to skyrocket in Dolphin colors. But in true Josh Harris fashion, nothing goes according to plan. Washington, quietly building an attractive package, must have pulled out all the stops to convince Hill that the nation's capital was the place to be. It's the kind of behind-the-scenes maneuvering that makes fans love the drama of sports and hate the unpredictability at the same time. Sources close to the situation hint at intense discussions, late-night calls, and perhaps even a last-minute shakeup that left Miami executives reeling. Imagine being a Dolphins fan, scrolling social media, seeing countdowns to Hill's arrival, and then, bam, your excitement replaced by disbelief. It's chaos, it's drama, and it's everything we live for in the NFL offseason. Josh Harris, for those who don't know, has a reputation for making bold, almost theatrical moves. He's not the kind of owner who quietly signs players and lets things unfold. No, he's a master strategist, a chess player thinking several moves ahead, while everyone else is still figuring out which pieces are on the board. And this is his magnum opus so far. By swooping in to claim Tyreek Hill for the Commanders, Harris has not only shaken up the AFC East, but has also sent a loud, unmistakable message to the entire league. Washington is back, and they're serious about competing. The ripple effects are enormous. Coaches are recalculating game plans, offensive coordinators are frantically adjusting schemes, and rival teams are suddenly evaluating how to counter a Hill-led offense that can stretch the field like few others in the game. In short, the offseason just got a lot more interesting, and the Commanders, long searching for their signature superstar, may have just struck gold. And let's not overlook the implications for the Dolphins. Losing Hill at the last second is a massive blow, not just in terms of talent, but in momentum and fan morale. Off-season hype is everything in today's NFL media landscape, and for Miami, this abrupt reversal is a reality check. Rumors suggest that negotiations had been advanced enough that internal plans were already in motion. Marketing campaigns, offensive schematics, even jersey sales predictions might now have to be rewritten. The Dolphins thought they were about to land a generational talent, and now they're left scrambling. Analysts are already debating whether Miami can pivot successfully, whether they can find another target who brings even a fraction of Hill's impact, or whether this will be a lingering shadow over the start of their season. It's the kind of drama that defines sports narratives for months, perhaps even years, and for Josh Harris, watching Miami fans react with equal parts disbelief and frustration must be incredibly satisfying. Now, let's imagine the Commanders' locker room. There's excitement, there's buzz, there's that palpable electricity of knowing you've just landed a player who can change the trajectory of your franchise. Tyreek Hill's presence doesn't just add speed and versatility. It sends a signal to opponents and teammates alike that this team is serious, that they're building something formidable. Combine Hill with Washington's existing talent, and suddenly, you're looking at a team that can challenge the upper echelons of the NFC. The chemistry with the quarterback, the potential for explosive plays on third downs, and the matchup nightmares Hill creates are all part of a package that could transform the Commanders from hopeful contenders to legitimate threats. And with Josh Harris's track record of bold moves, this may be just the beginning. You can almost hear the whispers. What's next? Who else is on the radar? This signing doesn't just impact one player or one team. It shifts the balance of power in the NFL in a way that few offseason moves ever do. And as the rumor mill churns, as sports talk shows light up with speculation, one thing is abundantly clear. This is a story that isn't going away anytime soon. Fans will debate, analysts will dissect every angle, and the narrative will grow with each passing day. Miami's misfortune becomes Washington's triumph, and at the center of it all is Josh Harris, executing a play off the field with the same precision that Hill executes on it. The drama, the intrigue, the sheer unpredictability of professional football comes alive in moments like this, reminding us why we watch, why we argue, and why we obsess over every trade, every signing, every rumor. The NFL is a theater, and Harris has just stolen the show with a move that will be remembered as one of the most audacious in recent memory. Tyreek Hill in Washington. It's happening. The Dolphins are left to wonder what might have been, and the Commanders are now the talk of the league, ready to redefine their season in ways that nobody could have predicted just a few short weeks ago. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.